Hello families, welcome back. It's a Friday afternoon. That's always the best time to do important, difficult things is a Friday afternoon, I think, when I'm, fresh and ready to go. So if I suddenly fall asleep and disappear from frame, that's why. But it was really important that I get a new video up for you. So just a couple of things I wanted to talk about today, and I'll try to be kind of brief. I always try to be brief. I think if you go back and you watch all the videos, I always say that, and I may always say that I always say that also, so I apologize if that's true. We're talking about behavior, and I've kind of set the stage for everything I want to talk about now. All of it under this big umbrella of the 3 rules that I had suggested to you. You want to be clear, you want to be consistent, and you want to be kind. Okay? 3 things when we're managing behavior, it's really important that we do those 3 things. And the other tool that I taught a long time ago that we're really going to apply a lot here is how do you feel and what do you want? It's kind of the framework for our discussion, our conversation today. So when you get started and you're working with behavior and you're trying to make changes that are going to improve your life and improve life for your child, you're not going to be able to, what's the saying, that Rome was not built in one day. You're not going to be able to solve all the problems. Even a parent of a typically developing hearing child struggles every day with trying to decide what's important and what's not important. And sometimes they're all important. So which one is the emergency? Which one is going to cause the police to come to my house? Or which one is going to cause my child to be suspended at school again and again? Or what's going to make it impossible for me to go to the store with my family? Okay, you have to decide. You're going to be choosing, that's our sign from before, right? We're going to choose the behavior that is most disabling. Deafness itself, we can overcome that. The behavior, that can really put up roadblocks to learning, to success, to socialization, to everything. So we're going to work on it together. So yes, choose your battles. And, in a family, you want that to be a conversation between the mom and the dad. Figure out so that everybody is in agreement that, yes, we're going to focus on this one behavior, and we're going to try to solve it. So going back just a little bit, this is a sign that we're going to need this sign for communicating with the child too, is behavior. So just I don't remember if I taught it or if we're reviewing it, but it's just 2 B's. It's 2 B's, and they just go left and right, palm out. Okay? Behavior. When we talk about what's happening, we're not talking about the child like their identity. Sign for identity, an I there against the hand. It's not their identity that they're bad or that that their behavior is lousy. It's the behavior. Your behavior is wrong. Your behavior is frustrating me, or you want to talk about that and not about the child themselves as a person. It's not a good idea. So one of the strategies that we have to use that's really important to establish is for that first thing, that clarity, and to give the child the opportunity to tell us how they feel and what they want. We need to have eye contact. We have to have eye contact. So the sign for that, it kind of comes from the sign for look. And look can be a 2-handed sign or it can be a 1-handed sign. Look, you see that a lot, like I was looking around the room, or it's basically 2 fingers for 2 eyeballs. Okay, if you had one cyclopean eye, you could just use 1 finger, but most of us have 2. Teachers have extra pair on the back of their heads, so we're always looking behind us. But you're going to take the 2 fingers, and the index touches on your cheek, kind of close to your eye, and then it goes out from your eye to whatever. You're going to look. You're going to look over there. You're going to look there. You're going to look up. You're going to look down. You're going to look in a circle. You might be looking all over for something. There's so many ways to kind of modulate that sign. It's really flexible. It's a good sign. I like it. So look. Look is kind of the basic sign. Look. because it is so nice and it's so directional, we can have one pair of eyeballs. Apparently I'm speaking with an accent. One pair of eyeballs and the other pair of eyeballs looking back. This is the sign that you're wanting to use as a cue for your child to look at you. Okay? If you do not do that, if you do not establish that eye contact, it's going to be hard to be clear. So, complications already. This is not a simple job. You know, we kind of are stuck in a situation where it's never going to be easy. But we can ask for this. We can ask for eye contact. The child's response may be to do this. Okay? Or sometimes the child might make eye contact and then very quickly they'll look away or drop their eyes or look away. I feel like asking a deaf child to do this, to look at us, first of all, I think it's kind of human nature that, you know, prolonged eye contact, if we're not like just newly fallen in love with, you know, a beautiful person, you know, in the springtime, these long eye gazes are not comfortable. Sometimes they're not comfortable. So that's one thing that the child might be experiencing, is maintaining that eye contact may not be comfortable always. The second thing, and this is just a theory, it's an idea, it's something based on my experience I notice. I feel like me as a teacher, and maybe you as a parent too, you guys can check yourselves, that when we demand, like, hey, you know, look at me, it's almost always something negative. It's almost always, we're going to scold you. Look at me so I can tell you why you're wrong or why you're bad, or not to do that thing, that fun thing, jumping off the top bunk of the bed or whatever that you wanted to do. You were enjoying yourself, but when I say look at me, that means it's going to stop. And kids are pretty smart. They figure out pretty fast that that means uh-oh. And they also have that feeling, I don't think I want to look. I don't want to make that eye contact. So, my advice to all of you as parents, or maybe as people working with deaf and hard of hearing children, is to use this sign on purpose as a teaching tool. So you want to set up opportunities for them to practice looking at you when you're going to tell them something good. Look at me, it's a party, or look at me, we're going to go to the movies, or look at me, you're handsome today, young man, or, you know, whatever, something positive. You're going to want to use this so that they don't associate this with all the time. Because I think that's the experience a lot of deaf kids have. Look at me means, oh no, I'm in trouble. So, some signs that you can use as you talk about this and you practice it before you get into a situation with your child. Look at me. You want this, use that sign. It's kind of similar, consistent. You say continue, keep going, keep looking at me, keep looking at me, hold it. See, you feel uncomfortable, don't you? Keep looking at me, and just practice maintaining that eye gaze. Without that, everything else is much harder. Maintain that eye gaze. What you'll see sometimes, maintain eye gaze, and then you start saying, I saw you, and their eyes are gone. Or they cover their eyes, and that's going to happen sometimes. I would suggest to you that you make a rule. Okay, a rule. We talked before about the sign for rule, R, an R that touches here and here. I think I tend to turn my palm more in, rule, like this. I think it's probably supposed to be more like palm out, but I think I'll check, but I think it's okay either way. So you're going to want to set up a rule. When, not when it's happening, not when the problem is happening. You want to set up the rule in a happy time, in a moment when you're able to get their attention. There's no problems. You can just say, we're going to teach you this new rule. If mom or dad tells you eye contact, you must. Okay? Let's talk about this sign. Must. Must. If you do it one time, it's your index finger and it bends into a hook, and then your wrist doesn't move so much, but your whole arm kind of comes down. Must. Must. Okay? Pretty clear, it's insistent. You must do it. You must make eye contact. And then you can show examples of what you don't want. This, no, don't do it. Or, This, no, that's not acceptable. This must. Okay. This gets complicated. While you're setting the rule up, you always want to have a system of carrots, sticks. It seems like I'm saying you should like hit your kid with a stick. Obviously, I don't want that. No. But you want to have very clear for the child what kind of good things maybe they would get if they follow the rule, and what kinds of punishments or consequences maybe they would experience if they did not follow the rule. So when they make the decision to close their eyes and refuse to follow the rule about making eye contact, you've already set it all up. It's been clear. Maybe you drew pictures. Maybe you have a paper stuck on the refrigerator that shows all the steps. You make eye contact. You look. You do not look away. You do not drop your eyes. You do not cover your eyes. You make eye contact. Then when the child makes the decision that they're going to close their eyes, or they're going to turn away from you or ignore or put their hand up and talk to the hand, they've made their decision. And then it becomes your responsibility to follow through and say, there'd be no TV if, they didn't keep eye contact. Then you have to unplug the TV. And when they're finished, when the kids finish, because they get tired, they get bored, maybe an hour or 2 hours. Whereas I've seen some that will really go on for a long time. But when they're finished, they're going to go. They'll come out from behind their hands, they'll look around, and they will see the TV is off and unplugged, or maybe it's even moved away, like it's out of the room. And when they get mad about that, and they're all, I want the TV, where's the TV? That's your opportunity to show them that compassion, that third part of the behavior management, that compassion, and say, I'm sorry, before, you remember? I said there was a rule that you must make eye contact. And we said, if you cover your eyes like this, the TV, it's away. Sorry. And it has to be sincere. You have to find a way to feel it. You have to find a way to not be like me sometimes and be like, well, too bad, you blew it, it's your mistake. You have to say, remember the rule? And then it's like, as they start to cry and they understand maybe that their decision did not work out well, you have to kind of meet them and say, I know, I'm sad too. You and I were both sad together. I want TV. I wanted to watch TV tonight with you. Now I can't. Why? The rule. I'm so sorry. And you can be compassionate towards them. But you've taken all the responsibility and you've put it all on their shoulders to make a decision. For that to work, for that to be successful, you have to have met all three of these. You have to have been very clear. They have to understand the rule. You have to be very consistent. There can be no times that the rule is broken or is flexible if you're, focusing, if you're teaching a specific behavior. So, and then the third thing, of course, is that compassionate part. You do those three things, you're going to see changes. You're going to see improvements. So here are some signs that are related to that. We're, it looks like about 14 minutes into this already. So I'm going to focus on some signs that maybe you would use when you were talking with your child, either setting up that rule or discussing the rule afterwards if they make the wrong decision and they lose something, or we really want to make sure that you have the vocabulary you need to set that rule. So first is rule. I think we already talked about that before, but I'll show it again. R from the alphabet, and the two fingertips kind of touch high and low on fingers together, opposite hand, thumb out. Okay, rule. So the rule is you must look at me. You must look at me. And then you can even say you can't. You can't. This is my index finger out. Other finger strikes down just across. I just missed. It's not easy, this. It's like a circus act sometimes. But strikes down across the fingertip. Can't. You can't. And then you show, here's them and here's you. You can't look away or look down or cover your eyes. You can't. That's the rule. That's the rule. When you're talking about setting up the rule, or you're in a situation where their eyes are closed and they're peeking through, You might need to use words like wait, like I'm waiting, or I'll wait. Patient, where you use the inside part of your thumb down your chin here. Patient, patient. I'll wait. I will wait. Patient. Okay. A good one, when you do see those opportunities, when you're in that moment and you see the eyeball through the fingers, by this time, if the rule has been clear, and maybe even the kid has experienced the consequence or the reward a few times, they're going to be thinking right now, okay, so how do I get out of this problem situation that I've created? So what you want to do is you want to ask them, are you ready? Okay. Ready is, they're just R's on both hands, and they kind of almost like overlap, and then my elbows kind of go up and then apart. My elbows come down as the hands move. So if I can do a little higher here. Ooh, I'm jacking myself up. Okay. So we put them down. Put them down. You put your hands like this. Elbows are kind of up, and then your elbows drop as you bring your hands apart. Ready? Okay. Yes, no question. So my eyebrows should be up. You ready? Oh, if they do this again, they're probably still looking at you. So if they do this again, then you say, oh, not yet. Again, I'm a little low here, so not yet. Not yet. Not yet. You're not yet ready. Not yet. Wait. I'll wait. I'm patient. Wait. Okay? When they do drop their hands, open their eyes, because they will eventually, that's your opportunity. How do you feel? What do you want? You get the opportunity to encourage them to tell you, because probably the behavior is that they have a feeling and there's something they want that they can't have, or that maybe you don't know, or maybe they don't know what it is they want. But it's an opportunity. It kind of opens the door for that communication to happen. Okay, so we did the sign must. I'll show you a couple, must like this. I'll show you a couple like related signs. There's the sign should. It's facial expression, and it's kind of smaller, and you do it again and again. Instead of one time, must or have to. Okay, now you do it kind of small, like you should. And then there's also the sign for need to, like I need to go to the bathroom, or I need to stop. It can be, that sign can be inflected, so you can, I have to stop, or you have to stop now. You can change it, make your facial, do your facial expression thing, and change the meaning of the sign when you do that. Okay, hopefully from the examples when you see my facial expression, you should, or you must, you can kind of see how that's such an important part of the conversation or the communication. Okay, so we have those signs. We've talked about eyes closed or eyes open. Eyes open must. Eyes open, that's the rule. There's a great sign, refuse. So it's just like the 10 hand shape. You kind of plant your elbow, and the thumb just goes straight back. There's another related sign that has to do with like protest, like refuse. It's more, you see it more with like an organized protest, but sometimes a kid will do that, like, they're struggling with you again and again. They're struggling with you. So we've gone through all this about choosing your battles. Now we're trying to make sure that the communication is clear about the rules. So when we're setting rules, there's a lot of talk about can. It's 2 A hand shapes, and they go down can, and then I showed can't before, where the left hand for me, because I'm right-handed, strikes across the fingertip on the other hand, can't. Some other signs that are related are ignore. So it's a 4, like the number 4, and the index finger touches my nose, and I kind of turn my head away. Ignore, okay? It can be used by you if a child's tantruming and you're like, oh, sorry, you remember the rule. I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to ignore that behavior. Or when you're trying to set the rule and explain, eye contact like this, can you ignore me? No. Don't ignore me. Don't ignore me. Okay. We talked about right. Index finger is the one strikes to the right. Wrong. Wrong just touches your chin directly. It doesn't do anything weird. Mistake, I think we've shown all these before too. Mistake twists across your chin. Mistake. Wrong. Mistake. We talked about behavior as an important sign. There's a good sign for bawling someone out, like to chew someone out and to criticize them and to be really negative. Bawl them out. So you start with your hands and fists that kind of cross here, and you just kind of let it all hang out. Okay. Bawl out somebody or to scold them really harshly. You saw the sign negative. When kids look up, sometimes that's all they get is negative, negative, negative. You want to change that to more positive. It's like a plus. It's like making the plus sign. Positive. We showed the negative marker, I think. It's hard for me to remember because I don't have good notes. I should have taken them, but not. You can use this to like flip the meaning of almost anything. Not. So I could say, I'm really skilled at baseball. Not. When you add that, it kind of just reverses the meaning of everything that you said right before. So not is important, and then there's nothing. Nothing. That's really helpful if you're making eye contact with your child and they think that you're really mad. Maybe that's been the experience in the past. I mean, I know that sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I'm mad. I can't be like, Zen Buddhist Jason all the time. Sometimes I'm mad. So when I do get those little peaks, sometimes I'll say, I'm not mad, or mad nothing, or mad not. I'm not mad. The sign we showed last time was for punish. Here's a really good one. Calm. 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 It's just, just these flat hands like this, and they kind of cross each other almost like you're going to block, and then they move apart and down. Calm. Calm. Sign for breathe, which is really helpful sometimes when kids they're blowing up and they're really, we say escalated, they're triggered, they're upset. You can show your breath, and as you breathe in, your hands go out. Excuse me. And you can show and you can count with them. Maybe you guys could have something that you do together where when they're really upset and they're really mad, I want you to breathe with me. Come on. You and I, it's like a K flipped on its side, this finger pointing kind of towards them and the middle finger pointing kind of towards you, and it goes back and forth like this. You and I need to calm down. We need to breathe. We need to breathe. 1, 2. Are you going to sleep out there while I'm doing this? I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit too. All right, I've got a few more minutes. So we did calm, breathe, again. Again. So if you're breathing, you can say again. Or if you're talking about a behavior that's a problem, you can say the rule was tantruming nothing. Nothing. That's the rule. Okay? You made a mistake. Again and again and again. So my left hand just stays out kind of flat. Right hand's here. I bend it at the knuckles and it touches the center of my other hand. So just again, one time means again. Either I'm telling you do it again or it happened again. Like one repetition. But then if I go like this, it means it's ongoing. It happens again and again and again and again, repetitively. Okay? I think that's the basics for today. At least it gives us like one more block that we can kind of build with as we work on the behaviors. Again, just to remind you again, the rule setting, you want your rules to be clear. Sign, draw, show, explain. Make that rule clear. If you're going to be using consequences or rewards, you want to make sure that there's no doubt in your mind, that you know for sure that the child understands the rule. It's really important. And so do the best you can to make sure that this one happens, that it's clear. Second one, consistent. that the rule kind of stays the same. It's the same rule all the time and it does not change. And when you're teaching a rule about a problem behavior, you have to be really consistent. You can't be flexible. You can't let them be successful one time. You have to win all of them at the beginning to make sure that they don't get reinforced. If you give up and you give them what they want, you can continue, don't give up, don't stop trying, but you may find that you've really, you've set yourself back because the child has learned that, okay, so sometimes if I do this, sometimes if I do it, I'll be successful. And that's enough for them to really continue the behavior. All right, and the last one, compassionate kindness, not pity. Don't feel sorry for them. It's not fair. Their situation is not fair and life is going to be hard. But pitying them too much can add disability. And in my experience, the deafness has been less of an obstacle than the behavior. Many times I've seen that. So when you're telling a child what you want them to do, so you're explaining the rule, this is, this thing here, it's not okay. It's not allowed. So there's some more signs. Okay, it's not allowed. I don't let you do that. It's not allowed. Flat hands that kind of go forward. That's important. It's also important to say in a positive phrase or sentence what the behavior is that you want. So you say, I don't want this behavior. I don't want this problem. This is what I want. I want you to be nice. I want you to be friendly. I want you to use safe hands. I want you to be nice. I want you to, all these different things, but you're saying what you want. It's just like what we ask them to do, what you feel, how do you feel, what do you want? So there's a lot to take in here. You're going to want to be clear, consistent, compassionate. You're going to want to say both, this one here is the no-no, this is the negative, and then over here you want to make a phrase, the positive behavior. This is what I want. I want you to be nice. I want you to finish your homework. I want you to do these things. And always the best time to discuss the behavior with the child is not, it's not in the behavior. It's not in that moment. You want to find another time that's happy, that you guys are together, that it's quiet, and you want to discuss the rule at that time when you're ready and you can show them and you can draw pictures or whatever you want to make it clear. You might be able to discuss the behavior with them after the behavior is over, maybe, like in the few minutes like after they calm down and they've decided they're finished and they've uncovered their eyes. You might be able to discuss the behavior like at that moment, but they're very emotional at that time. There's something that we call they call it an affective barrier. When we're feeling really emotional, it's not a good time for us to learn, really. Just people generally. If we've got emotions going on, we tend to block new learning. So other times tend to be better. Get in advance of the behavior, set up all those rules, and you'll be in great shape. I am losing my voice. I'm sorry, Friday afternoons, I said it's the best time, but I'm trying for you guys. The last thing I'll say is those visuals. So when you're setting that rule, yes, you're going to be a skilled signer, you're going to be able to communicate well, but the more pictures, the more you can act out, the more you can show the behavior you want and show the wrong behavior that you don't want, that's going to help you be more clear and it's going to help the child understand. When they understand the rule and they decide not to follow it, then that whole responsibility is kind of off your shoulders and on theirs. And you can feel sorry for them. Man, I remember back in my life when I had to make decisions. I knew the rules and I decided the wrong way and I felt sorry for me, so now I feel sorry for you too. It's not as hard as you think. It's a habit that's changeable. So anyway, I feel like I'm not very lively today, a little bit tired, but I did want to add to your vocabulary and add to your wisdom a little bit and give you something that you can really work with. Choosing that battle, choosing what struggles are going to be worth your time, what are the most important emergencies, and give you some tools, some signs that you can use in setting up those rules and teaching kids the right way. All right. I'm out of here. We'll see you later, guys. Until next time, goodbye, and my power is yours. Good luck.